It doesn't matter if you win by an inch or a mile. Winning's winning.
I almost had you, dude.
You almost had me. The Fast and the Furious 25 years anniversary hit last week. We attended an amazing screening. And man, I forgot how much I love this movie. I've seen it probably like 10 times throughout my life. I remember we saw it in theaters when it came out back in 2001.
We were obsessed with it when we were kids.
It was such a great film experience to revisit it in a theater again.
We had cool movies like this.
I know, man.
Come on.
This was so fun.
What cool movie like this comes out these days for kids?
And yes, I know the Fast and Furious is literally Point Break with cars.
Yes.
And it's boosting trucks instead of robbing banks. A lot of the similar kinds of characters, undercover cop.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it works.
Yeah.
This movie ignited a franchise, ignited passion for people they didn't realize they had. There was a deep community of street racing in New York and Los Angeles. The New York street racing inspired the story in this movie. And the culture just exploded, and it's part of LA culture now, and you see tuners all the time. And I think it was just a really exciting time when this movie came out, where studios were taking chances, making really fun, interesting films that you had no idea this was going to be such a big blockbuster on a budget of, I think it was $38 million. Ended up grossing over $200 million at the box office in 2001. Directed by Rob Cohen. Fast and Furious is outstanding. Such a terrific cast as well. Vin Diesel, Paul Walker, Michelle Rodriguez, Jordana Brewster. Just iconic, all-time hot people. Such a fun time. Great characters that still live with us today, and people still love these movies.
Yeah, it was a very cool movie. And then watching it again in theaters, it brought me back to because the franchise became a different thing.
It became out of control.
It became Mission Impossible.
They destroyed Rome.
Yeah, it's just it became a different kind of movie. It has still has some of the DNA, but still, it's so big. And I understand,
Do you think it's because Vin Diesel did Triple X? And they're like,
I
let's
want
do
more of
that with Fast and Furious.
I think he watched Mission Impossible 3 and was like, let's do that with Fast, is what I think. But the first film, and even the second one's still pretty small in scale, but the first film, it's really contained, and it's such a great LA movie, and it's so effortlessly cool. This is a great, the start of the 2000s, post, what's the millennial year thing? We're Y2K. Post Y2K.
The millennial year thing. The thing that everyone thought they were going to die.
Yeah. It's a great...
How'd you forget that?
It's been a while. It's been 27 years, bro. 26 years. Post Y2K film. And it had such a great cultural impact. Like, this movie, $200 million, not the biggest movie in the world, but very, very successful. But this catapulted car culture into the culture. We were...
culture into the culture.
Into the mainstream culture. And it became one of the center points of American culture, especially in LA. And as kids, we all became obsessed with cool cars, and we would draw cars, and car video games were popular. It was very cool. And one of our brothers used to soup up his Jetta and do street racing in Western Mass. I'm not sure how big the races were, but it was, people were souping up cars and getting rims and getting decals and getting spoilers.
I think MTV Cribs and rap videos got everyone rims on their cars.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what got rims.
And then you started seeing cars like you saw in this movie all over the place. But it was just a very cool movie, and it captured youth culture and what young people were interested in at that era. And it's a great kind of a time capsule of a certain subset of the culture in America in that time.
We don't get movies like this anymore. I don't know what it is, but this one's just so unique. You can tell if they tried to make this again from an original standpoint, it would be a shell of itself. It's just so fun. It doesn't take itself seriously, but the characters are really what make it. And you remember these characters forever. Dominic Toretto, Brian, Letty. They're such famous characters in this franchise around the world. They're recognizable. And you fall in love with them in this movie. Every single character you just can't help but want to hang out with. And also drink Coronas with. But I have 10...
Have any beer you like, as long as it's a Corona.
I have 10 crazy facts about the film before we get into the movie that I'd love to bring up. So first of all, The Fast and the Furious, 2001, it was inspired, like I said, by a real story. It was inspired by a magazine article in 1998. Traces back to this article written by Ken Lee in 1998's Vibe, the article called Racer X, about underground import street racing in New York City. Rob Cohen then attended an LA illegal race, and he became convinced that it had to be a movie. So Rob,
he was like, "This is so cool. This is a movie."
Yeah. And then he built a story out of that. And then it also wasn't originally called The Fast and the Furious. During production, it was called Red Line. Pretty good name, pretty solid.
But it wouldn't be Red Line X.
Red Line X.
Fast and Furious is too good of a title.
Fast and Furious is an outstanding title for a movie, first of all. But there was a back and forth between the studio because in 1955, there was a film called The Fast and the Furious that came out, directed by Roger Corman. And so Universal reportedly traded Corman access to stock footage for the title rights in order to be able to use the title. Michelle Rodriguez and Jordana Brewster could not drive before making the movie. Neither had driver's licenses before production, so they had to learn how to drive for the movie. Rodriguez became enough of an enthusiast that she reportedly complained that production wouldn't let her drive faster than 80 miles per hour.
Wow.
Which is great because
they can't even do that anymore.
You don't see fast driving very often. That's what I loved about this movie.
Yeah.
One of my pet peeves about film, and I get it, a lot of safety regulations have changed over the decades.
Yeah.
But almost every car chase in movies these days,
going 35.
slower. Yeah. You can tell how slowly the yellow lines are passing by. It'll be like, they'll cut to the odometer or speedometer, whatever you call it.
They jack up the audio.
It'll be like 95, and then it'll cut to them going like 30.
Someone's walking past them.
And then there's a jogger, the revving of the engine. I'm like, I can see that. But you can tell they're going fast in this movie. They're cruising in a lot of scenes. They are cruising. And also the stunt work is just crazy, which we'll get into later on. A huge number of the cars were actually real car enthusiasts. These were their real cars, their real super
especially that first street race scene, all the people pulling up, those are definitely real people.
It's the actual car scene from Southern California. They're modified vehicles showing up to these sequences because that first sequence, what is there, 200 cars?
So cool.
The helicopter shots of them running from the police and then shutting down the street, amazing. Today, that would be all CGI.
Oh my God.
It would look terrible.
Yeah.
It looked so fucking good.
It looked great.
Looked incredible. The guy driving the Ferrari in this movie that Brian races, that's actually the producer, Neil H. Moritz. He produced this film in every single Fast movie, but he's the one that's driving the Ferrari.
More than you could afford.
Ferrari. Director Rob Cohen also has a cameo. I believe he's the pizza delivery guy.
Okay.
That stops at this edge of when the street cars shut down the street.
Yeah. Find another way home.
What's he say? Delivery boy.
Find another way home, delivery boy.
Yes. Something like that. That's Rob Cohen. Apparently.
David Ayer is a co-writer on the script.
Yeah, he co-wrote a lot of stuff.
Yeah. I saw the credit. I was like, oh my God.
So also, 78 cars were wrecked during the production of The Fast and the Furious, which is crazy comparing to how grounded this is compared to the CGI destruction of the other films. I love it. This is what I love to see.
The stunts are awesome.
Cars get destroyed in movies. Also, what else do I have for fun facts? The houses were deliberately toned down to make the cars look brighter.
Okay.
So bring down the lighting of the houses. So that's pretty muted colors.
Yeah.
So the cars just shine. You know, when they pull
They're
up,
the stars.
even in front of Toretto's diner or store, they're just shining, man. They're colorful.
His diner. His shop.
And then the terrifying train near miss wasn't actually a near miss. For Brian and Dom's climactic race, which we'll talk about later on, the cars crossing the tracks and the train crossing were filmed separately, then composited together. So Paul Walker and Vin Diesel and the stunt drivers were thankfully not actually playing chicken with the locomotive.
Looks great.
I will say some of the stunt doubles are very noticeable in this film.
There's one Brian stunt double when he's jumping onto the
hairline is not close.
And the guy had like a beard.
But also it's like, how many people can you find that would actually do something like that? Because that stunt is bananas crazy.
Yeah.
And that stunt guy is the fucking bee's knees. He's like the man, but the hairline doesn't match. And there's a shot, it got a big chuckle from the audience because he has like a 2-second shot where he's standing on top of his Eclipse. It's the car.
It's Jordana's car.
No, it's Brian's Supra.
Okay, yeah.
So on the Supra, when they're in the finale, it's definitely not Paul Walker.
Definitely not.
But hey, man, that guy, give all the credit to that guy. That's an incredible stunt. So, but that famous chase scene and then the race with the train, that's composited. They weren't really doing that.
Looks great though.
It looked really fucking good. It really did.
It was so fun. Is that it for facts? Fun facts?
I will say one other fun fact: the fight outside the store between Paul Walker and Matt Schultz. Originally, they rehearsed a completely different fight scene to choreograph and do, but it wasn't working, so they ditched it and just improvised the whole fight.
It felt good, yeah.
It felt like a real fight.
It was really fun for me in particular to watch this film again because I actually lived in that neighborhood for 2 years.
Your old house that you lived in was in the movie.
So I lived across the street from Toretto's shop for 2 years. Like, I lived literally my window, I could see there was a store right there.
Yeah, and you had a souped up
Supra. I had my Supra. And also, and then the Toretto Dom's house is actually on the same neighborhood just down the road. And it's called a neighborhood called Angelino Heights in Los Angeles. And it's called, the market's still there. It's called Bob's Market. It still looks the same from the outside. It's a convenience store in reality. But when I lived there, every Sunday and Saturday morning, lines of guys and girls with souped up cars would show up to take photos of their car in front of Bob's Market. So every morning I would see this row of these crazy cars just lined up down the road, just waiting for their turn to take photos in front of the store. And also just the neighborhood, like I used to walk that street all the time and just like that was my neighborhood. So watching this movie, it's great. It's a great LA movie because it shows a part of LA that wasn't really that well known. It had been shown in some movies, like there are some plenty 50s and 60s movies that shot in Angelino Heights, but after a while I feel like Hollywood just Hollywoodized LA. There's like a certain way LA looks.
It's either the West Side, like, or Beverly Hills,
or
or
the
downtown.
beach. Yeah, and that's it. And so to see, like, this is what a real LA neighborhood is. Like, if you live here, if you grew up here, especially if you grew up here and were born here in the 80s, like, that's the kind of neighborhood you lived in. And this movie just really felt like, oh, this is an authentic LA experience. This is like showing people, if they've only seen movies where it's like the beach or Beverly Hills for LA, this is what LA really looks like.
Punch Drunk Love is like that too.
Yeah.
Punch
The
Drunk
Valley.
Love is such a Valley movie, and it feels like it every frame of the movie.
100%.
So Nightcrawler too. Nightcrawler is a very LA feeling movie because they shot in LA environments in the same areas as this film as well. I love the aesthetic of this movie. Real quick though, guys, I just want to talk about ways to support our show. You know, if you're watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, leave some comments. Instagram, TikTok, follow us there, as well as Spotify, Apple, iHeart. Leave those 5-star ratings and reviews. We'd love for you to engage with us. You can leave comments on Spotify too. So do all the things real quick right now before the episode continues. Hurry up! You don't have to. We'd really appreciate it.
Hit that NOS.
Hit the NOS, and we'd really appreciate
your
subscriptions. Patreon.com/Raiders of the Lost Podcast as well for bonus episodes.
How cool was NOS? Like, everybody was obsessed with NOS for a while.
You'd see NOS stickers inside kids' lockers in middle school.
It was like one of the coolest brands. The NOS.
We didn't even have cars, but we had NOS stickers.
It was on our notebooks. NOS was so cool.
It was very cool. And that's the biggest like tech in this movie, which I love. Because when you think of Fast and Furious now, you think of spies and submarines,
globetrotting,
and space, and driving souped up cars from one skyscraper in the air to the next skyscraper, and super spies and super agents and all this crazy action, which is fun. You know, there's a place that in my heart that I love movies like that, but also, you know, there are no spies in this. There are no world-ending computer viruses. There's no stakes. There's no
super
flying
villains.
Cars.
Like, they literally have supervillains now.
Yeah, no superhuman fist fights.
Yeah.
Nobody's launched into space. This is, like you said, contained.
Yeah.
It's a crime thriller. Undercover cop story. Infiltrating a group of street racers, trying to find out who are the street racers that are jacking these trucks for parts. And it's
surf wax.
Yeah, it's not
surf wax. It's Camrys in this one. Camrys with Yamaha tires.
Yeah, it's not the Pirelli tires. And I love that.
It's great.
It's so grounded. They're just jacking DVD players and TVs.
The old tech, the round TVs.
It's fantastic.
Panasonic DVDs.
It makes it feel real and grounded. The subculture,
believable.
It really exists. People do jack trucks. And I love it. And the whole movie, it's parking lots, it's restaurants, it's city streets, diners, backyards, small homes inside Los Angeles. It's a world we all know.
Yeah.
Even if you don't live in LA, you have places like this that you frequent every day of your life. It just feels like an experience that an actual person lives in.
And this movie, it really holds up so well It's so much fun. It's really well directed by Rob Cohen, and it has incredible practical effects with visual effects. I want to break down like that first race, great visual effects the team did on that. But ultimately, it's all about character, and that's really why the franchise has lived on, because the characters are so beloved, and you see the big four in this one, and then they obviously added so many roles to the franchise. But really, these are the main cast, and they do a great job of introducing each of these lead characters. Most notably, I think Dom Toretto has an unbelievably fantastic introduction in the film. We start out with Brian. His opening scene's great. He's racing down the track by himself. He's a good driver, but he's not quite there. The car stalls out. He's struggling. But we don't even know he's a cop yet. And they don't reveal that he's a cop until, I think, 25 minutes in.
Yeah, we had even longer.
Yeah, a friend of ours was like, I didn't know he was a cop until, like, the end of the first act. So it's a great way that they set it up where you don't even know that he's undercover. He's fooling the audience, too. But Dom especially has a great intro because Brian's been going to the sandwich shop next to this, at the auto body shop, getting the same tuna sandwich.
Tuna on wheat, no crust.
Yeah, showing up for, you could assume, like 2 weeks straight lunch here every day. And Dom's in the background, and she goes to him, says a couple of things. We don't even hear what they say, but you can tell Dom's listening, but his back's turned to the camera. And you can tell, just from the way they stage the scene, he's important. Like, this guy, he's so important, he's not showing his face yet. And you can tell there's a bit of that you can see the power dynamic, and then there's a little bit more back and forth, and then Dom gets up, opens the fridge just to get a look at the guy, Brian. And then we finally see him. Still, he doesn't say anything, though. We don't hear his voice. It's not until the fight happens that Dom finally takes action and shows up, and he shows that he's the big dog around here. And he separates the fight, knocks them down. This is the guy. And it's such a great opening to a character. They don't really make I feel like a lot of writers these days, they're not as focused on how you introduce your character like they used to be. And this is such a great example of how to show who this character is without telling you who he is. It's all through action. Great intro.
It is a great intro.
Yeah.
It's very... You get a Godfather-esque presence from him.
Yes, yeah.
You know, he's powerful, like you said. He's in control. He's the alpha. He's the big dog, as Anthony, quote unquote Anthony, the big dog.
Big dog.
Now, how similar is this movie to Point Break? The Fast and the Furious is pretty similar to Point Break, to the point where even Rob Cohen has jokingly acknowledged the connection, saying, Point Break, I loved it so much, I stole the plot. Catherine Bigelow's movie is a classic. And this is a classic as well. You know, instead of surfing, we have street racing. Instead of bank robbers, we have truck hijackers. Instead of Johnny Utah, we have Brian O'Connor, FBI agent, undercover, LAPD. Instead of Bodie, we have Dominic Toretto. Instead of Tyler, we have Mia Toretto. So that's the template. You know, you have very similar characters, very similar plot.
Extreme sports in a way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Extreme sports, but it's racing this time. But it didn't just like copy it, but they put this world and created culture inside of the template to not just copy and paste, but they actually infused their own originality into it.
It's enough of its own thing, because I love Point Break so much, and I don't like when films really just rip off other movies, but they still made it very much their own thing where you can really enjoy the film, knowing that it used Point Break as inspiration.
Yeah.
Like, so many story beats are the same. Even the ending's very similar, where Brian gives him his 10-second car, just like how Keanu lets Johnny lets Bodie ride that last wave rather than bringing him in. So letting his new friend just ride off.
And also it's about the undercover cop, falls in love with the culture, falls in love with these characters, as the FBI, or no, his sergeant or lieutenant says, "You're not going native on me, are you, Brian?"
Yeah.
Falling in love with the culture. You know, we've seen that in 100 movies where the undercover cop or the soldier or whatever it is wants to be part of the tribe, wants to be a part of this team, part of this group. And
I forgot Ted Levine was in this.
Yeah.
He plays the
Buffalo
sergeant.
Bill.
Yeah.
Got a great voice.
Yeah.
But also this movie's very much, it's like Donnie Brasco meets Days of Thunder in a lot of ways too. Racing as well as an undercover cop situation, both great movies.
And, you know, the movie does get it does have that Fast DNA still, where it's a little a little over the top sometimes, especially with like the other gang and the drive-bys and stuff. But it's still a good time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it does. It is a lot.
The drive-by Uzis.
When Johnny Tran and his crew blow up his car, it's a lot.
Well, I like that. That seems fun.
It is fun.
Yeah, but like, and it's like, it's so funny because we grew up watching this movie, and like Chinatown in LA looked so big and like amazing, but Chinatown in LA in reality is pretty small.
Yeah,
it's not that big.
It's just a couple blocks.
Yeah,
really.
but you think it's like this huge area, this huge neighborhood, but it's really not.
Let's talk about the core cast. We have Brian O'Connor, played by Paul Walker, the undercover LAPD officer who gets seduced by Dom's world but his job is to try to get information on who is jacking these trucks. These 4 all black Honda Civics.
3
all black Honda Civics.
Camrys or Civics? Civics.
Honda Civics.
Yeah. With the neon
glow underneath,
yeah.
keep jacking trucks for parts and gear. And so he's trying to infiltrate these street gangs.
And that's the opening scene.
Yeah.
It's a great opener.
Terrific opening scene. We also have Dominic Toretto, played by Vin Diesel, the street racing patriarch, suspected hijacker, possibly, but because Brian is so enticed by the lifestyle of Dom's world, he has blinders on. He's got tunnel vision and just focused on his sister also, Mia Toretto, played by Jordana Brewster, Dom's sister, and obviously who Brian falls in love with. Letty Ortiz, played by Michelle Rodriguez, who is a scene stealer in this movie. Just
super cool.
One of the hottest girls you ever see in a film. She's just on fire in this movie. Dom's girlfriend, loyal member of the crew, just willing to do anything for the team, for the gang. Johnny Tran, played by Rick Yoon, rival racer, primary red herring of the story as well. Jesse, played by Chad Lindbergh, he's the brilliant, insecure mechanic who's great with numbers and coding and all that, but he's got actual ADHD, can't focus, and has a tragic story at the end of the film. Vince, played by Matt Schultz, Dom's childhood best friend, Brian's principal antagonist in the film, the 2 rivals who are constantly butting heads. And then we have Leon, played by Johnny Strong, who's also in the crew. He's just kind of there to like nod every once in a while, be like, "Yo, Dom, yo, hey, yeah. Cops, let's go, guys, come on." That's the exact voice. Ted Levine plays Sergeant Tanner, Brian's LAPD superior, and then Tom Barry plays Agent Bilkins from the FBI because the FBI and LAPD are working together on the investigation of the truck hijackings. Yeah, that's the crew. Great cast. Awesome ensemble.
What's the name of the guy who's in a rivalry with Brian again?
In the movie?
Yeah.
Vince.
Vince is like the most unlikable character to the point where like the audience was laughing at how much of a piece of shit he is.
He's good at it.
Yeah, he's such a baby. And then have you ever seen the video meme of when he drinks the Corona?
Yeah.
And he doesn't even touch his lips. And he just pours it out.
And he's ripping the he's ripping a guitar solo. No, but like every friend group has that guy.
Yeah.
Like you've been friends since you were 4.
You can't stand him, but like he's like your
he's
brother.
family. Like he's an asshole, but he's family. So it's a great character because
Yeah.
it's another thing you talk about character introductions, character writing. People are so focused on making every single character likable, not giving them any edge. It's okay to make a character that you want to hate. Like no one likes Vince in the movie, but he's supposed to be like that.
Yeah. He did a great job being unlikable.
Yeah. He's always friends like that.
And he's always wearing 2 tanks.
Yeah. Yeah, he's the waffle cut tank top on top of the regular tank top for me.
I forgot Ja Rule was in this movie.
Ja Rule!
Monica!
Oh no, Monica!
Menage! I remember when we were kids, and because his girlfriend promises him a menage a trois if he wins. But as a kid, I didn't understand what was happening. And I clearly remember Ja Rule screaming before the race starts. He's excited. He's like, he just says Menage, and I was like, is that a person's name?
It's funny. What I love most about this film is it's a car movie, but it's not about cars. It's about the relationships, and the stakes are high. They're not world-ending like they become in the rest of the Fast and the Furious movies, but they're real stakes that people deal with every day. You know, going to prison is the main stake of the movie. Turning against your job. You know, you're an LAPD undercover officer, but you're not giving them the objective information that could help them catch the criminals.
Yeah, what is law and justice and the line blurs for Brian in the film really well.
That's why he's such an interesting character. And I gotta say, Paul Walker's baby blues are the bluest eyes I've seen since Peter O'Toole on the big screen.
He's pretty. Pretty boy.
Pretty boy. He's such a presence in this movie. And you wonder, if he didn't pass away, what kinds of movies he'd be in outside of the Fast franchise. He was clearly a star. Yeah. He had the presence. I think he got better at acting over time. He's not, in his early career, the best actor in the world, but he's got enough of the charisma and the presence to be a passable movie star. And we've only gotten better and better with his performances and been in better movies.
I mean, I would say out of the cast, Michelle is the best actor in the entire cast.
She's really good.
Everyone's they're very young, and they're not all the caliber of acting that we're used to now, because people train much earlier, and just the vetting, and to get in, you have to be amazing to get in now. But they're all very good.
A bunch of followers.
Yeah, we have a bunch of followers. They're all very good, and they all did get better in their careers. But I think Michelle is the standout as being the most natural talent of the entire crew.
Yeah, she's the one. Well, Vin's as well.
Vin's great.
Vin's terrific.
Vin's great. Yeah,
I think Vin has strong presence on camera anytime. The guy, my judgment of an actor is whether you can tell they're acting or not.
Yeah,
naturally. And I think Vin's a very natural actor, as well as Michelle Rodriguez. She's terrific. But Brian's a great character to follow because he's our surrogate for the world. He's entering this world. He's a bit of a novice. He's an amateur to street racing. And you kind of want to... What's interesting is this life is alluring. Even watching it 25 years later, it's oh man, it would have been cool.
This was an era.
This would have been cool to live a life like this, to be a street racer, to be involved in this community, to commit crimes. And that's what's so fun about cops and robbers movies is the committing the crimes, because I've never committed a crime before and robbed a bank or robbed a truck, but it's just, that's why I love cinema and stories, is because you can experience that secondhand. You can be a part of that world while not living in it. You can just watch it and picture yourself in it and live in it for a few hours and then escape it. I think it's alluring as hell, especially when everyone's so hot.
Just like Point Break, you fall in love with the crew, you fall in love with the lifestyle. And if a film like this nails that, then you most of the job's done. Most of the work is done, because then you have the conflict of I love this world and I love these people now, but I'm meant to be betraying them and using them. And then, the movie does take familiar beats, but it stays fresh and it stays fun and edgy and entertaining throughout. And let's talk about that first race.
Real quick, though, I want to talk about this poster, the Sinners poster over my shoulder, provided to us by our great friends at movieposters.com. Use our code Raiders10 at checkout today to get 10% off your order. Today, 10% off your order. The affiliate link in the podcast description also gets us a commission on your purchase. It's a win-win for everybody, movieposters.com. Go there to get your Fast and Furious posters today.
Now, I'm not sure, I can't remember why Vin wasn't in Too Fast, Too Furious, and it was focused on Brian's character.
Well, he was the only one from the original film in the movie. It was him and Tyrese.
Yeah, and I'm not sure why Vin didn't come back. Maybe he was doing Riddick.
It's possible. It does take place in Miami, right?
Yeah.
And so that's actually a good question.
Yeah, why wasn't Vin Diesel in Too Fast, Too Furious? And then he obviously famously has the cameo in Tokyo Drift, and then obviously we all know he's been one of the main producers, showrunners, you can say, of the franchise since then.
Okay, what I found was Vin Diesel didn't like the screenplay. He felt it was a rushed cash grab. It didn't live up to the first film, and he chose to star in the Chronicles of Riddick, the sequel.
Which was a passion project for him.
He turned down big money. He turned down somewhere between $20 and $25 million to not do Fast and Furious 2.
I respect that.
And because he wanted more creative control,
he
didn't want to be a part of the franchise because he lost it for the sequel.
And they needed him because obviously, 2 and 3, they're fine, but by the time we're at Tokyo Drift, we have none of the characters that we know in this movie anymore.
Except for just the cameo at the end.
Yeah, except for the cameo. And then when he came back, it was such a big deal with that cameo at the end of the film. And then him steering the franchise in a direction that obviously was the most successful and viable that possible. So great that they got him back. because
they dropped big time in box office performance. They went from $200 million in the first film box office. The second film was huge. You have Paul Walker coming back, $234.
Yeah.
But Tokyo Drift dropped down significantly to $150 million. And then you bring Vin Diesel back, you bring other characters back, and you make Vin Diesel producer, going up to $350 million to then it's just breaking $700 million to the point where they're making $1.5 billion.
Yeah, but in Tokyo Drift, it's all new faces, and like it's not like the lead actor. Nobody even knew who he was. Nothing against him.
I just knew him from Varsity Blues.
Yeah.
No, not Varsity Blues. Was it Friday Night Lights? Yeah, Friday Night Lights, the movie.
Yeah, and like an odd choice for a lead character. He's like this like down south, like wholesome guy who goes to Tokyo and starts drifting. It was like, it was fine. But the synergy of the characters in this first film showcased why the sequels after 3 became such favorites for fans and why the franchise grew so much.
You need the ensemble.
Yeah,
you need 4 to 5 really big characters.
Absolutely. Now, the film, great characters, great setup, and what I've missed about, because I've not seen all the Fast movies, but I've seen a few of the later sequels. I love the racing in this. You know, the racing culture was what was cool about it. What really gave it like that edge, the cool factor. Yes, the crime aspect is interesting, but it's like that first race. It's I think the best sequence of the movie.
Yeah.
You get the huge pull up of hundreds of people in street racing culture coming to this like abandoned warehouse area in downtown LA, and it looks like the coolest party in the city, and like this is underground stuff, like where it's like word of mouth, and like I'm imagining like who set it up, and everyone just spread like on their flip phones, hey, tonight at the docks. It's so cool because there's no social media, there's no smartphones. It's just very pure. You know what I mean? It's just very secretive underground culture, and it looks so cool. It looks so fun and exciting. And then the race is fantastic, and that famous shot, and the crowd applauded when we got that famous shot of starting inside Dom's car and going into the engine and into the transition and into the transmission and the fuel, and then
coming out Fight Club shot,
coming out of the exhaust system. It was such a showstopper moment, and the visceral feeling of how fast you're going, the speed. We were talking about how slow cars drive now, but there's great visual effects work in this scene to really make you feel the speed of like going 180, and like because they can't drive that fast. But they got really close to making you feel like you were really going that fast inside the cars.
Yeah, and I love the visual effects of them. Obviously, they're doing a lot of the sequences on a green screen or blue screen, and then the way they're doing the effects on the camera, whether it's the camera shake and warping the environment whenever Brian or someone else is like going POV extremely fast, and when they hit the NOS, warping the lanes, you can't really see shit. The lights are blending in together.
Yeah,
I love the way they shot it. It's so unique, and the drag racing is so fun because, you know, you're trying to put an audience in the perspective of what that's like to go from 0 to 160 miles per hour in 4 seconds. You know, what is that? What does that feel like? What's it look like?
Yeah.
What does that do to your vision? And so I thought they got very creative and experimental with how they shot it. And, you know, a lot of the classic shots that live on, like when you're pulling the camera through the car windows as each member lines up to the line. Brian goes over the line the first time, which is a ton of fun. But I love the visual effects. I love the way they shot this. It's so original. I've never seen anything quite like it before in my life.
It was just so cool to see when we were kids. It was just like, this is like amazing.
And I got on the rewatch, I just brought up Fight Club for that sequence of going inside. Like obviously Fight Club does that a few times, whether it's going through the trash and through the apartment, the light, the pilot light of the oven going off on the stove, or the bombs of the nitroglycerin at the end. So there's a bunch of sequences where Fincher with visual effects and his team are doing these brilliant hyper close-up shots going through tiny environments, technological based environments. And they do that in this movie multiple times. There's a great one where it's another one where after it's inside of the car, it leaves the car and it ends on the rear right tire peeling out.
Yeah.
It's so sick.
It's awesome.
It's stitched together so well. And so I felt the influence of Fight Club on this movie with stuff like that. And then I also felt the influence of The Matrix on this movie.
Yeah.
In terms of creating a cool aesthetic and feel, not just through your visuals, but also through your music. And obviously it's a much smaller scale film than The Matrix, a very different movie. But I felt sort of the influence of those two movies on this movie on the rewatch.
And it's a culture thing too, like the fashion. in the style.
Exactly. Yeah, that's it too.
It's like because the Matrix had its own style with like that kind of futuristic BDSM, lots of leather kind of styling for the actors. This one, it's the cars and then the Y2K fashion of the era, which was pretty fun and eclectic. And to see that, because nowadays, like, we get like the generic outfits that actors are wearing. It's like just like everyone's so boring. Like, there's nothing interesting about a lot of clothing nowadays, unless you have like something like Dune or the Odyssey or whatever. But like you really
or Ryan Gosling in his jackets.
Yeah. But the culture in the movie, I think, is one of the strengths of it, and you feel it. And I can only imagine how influential this was for like people in their like from like 17 to like 25, what they were wearing, what they were listening to, and what they were interested in at the time.
I mean, it was. I mean, staying on what they're listening to, the music is fucking awesome in this movie. Let's run through the soundtrack.
I heard some Limp Bizkit.
Limp Bizkit's got a few songs in there. Rollins in this movie. Keep rolling, rolling, roll. That was such a huge hit. R. Kelly has a song in this. We have Ja Rule's got a couple songs. Ashanti, Fat Joe. Who else was big at the time? Petey Pablo, Vita. So just a bunch of music that really connected us to that era, to that time. You have a big rap star in the movie as well, Ja Rule, in a couple scenes. So that's infusing
Monica!
So I think that made it fresh. It made it hip. It made it cool. You know, you got a couple names in there. Really good soundtrack. Mm-hmm. And they did more of that later on with other films. Like Bow Wow is an exhibit in one of them as well.
Yeah.
And so I think they've always infused music culture so well in these films, especially in the first one.
And ultimately, another big strength of the film and eventually the franchise was the bond and the brotherhood between Brian and
Brotherhood,
Dom.
man.
It's all family, but also in brotherhood and being the new guy. No, they don't really trust him, but Brian proves himself by getting Dom out of that bind. He's the one who kept me out of handcuffs.
The Buster brought me back. No, Brian and Dom. Yeah. You know, at first they're antagonists, they're opposing forces, but that first street race really bonds them. I think that Brian slowly earns his respect even before then. I think he earns his respect when he fights Vince, and Dom says that line, "What are you putting in that tuna?"
Yeah. What'd you put
in that tuna? Because this guy's fucking Vince up. He's holding his own against Vince, who's a big guy. He's a tough guy. So I think that immediately Brian gets a little respect from Dom, because Brian's clever the way he goes about this. He's inserting himself in an environment that he's a newcomer in. He's not welcome in, really. Going to the shop. He goes there for parts and dropping stuff off for Harry at the job he has, the front that he works for. Well, the shop's not a front, but his employment's a front. Because they've blackmailed Harry into having him there, else he goes to jail for the crimes he's committed. And so Brian is slowly integrating himself into this community through Dom and his gang.
But not forcing it.
He's just getting the tuna sandwich, dropping
parts
off. He
ain't here for the tuna.
He ain't here for the tuna. But he's getting the respect. Dom knows he exists, knows he talks to Mia, and he knows Mia makes the sandwiches. But that fight with Vince is the first big step of getting Dom's respect. Because you got to prove yourself over and over again to the alpha that you can hang. And I love watching this movie because you see their friendship blossom. And when we went to the screening, the cast was there, Vin was there, and he spent almost his entire speech talking about Paul, who he called Pablo. Talking about him. He was his brother. He says, like, every frame, every single shot, watch this movie, and you can feel our connection of our brotherhood that started in this movie. And it's really palpable. Their chemistry is incredible in this film. Yeah. And leading from that fight to the race, you know, Brian showing up. Who is this guy? He put his pink slips in the race. Sure, you're in. You're in. Almost wins. I almost had you, bro.
Almost had me?
So many great nuggets of wisdom, though, from Dom. Dom's like a teacher. He's a teacher to Brian about
and he
this
knows
world.
he knows exactly what Brian did wrong in the race. He could tell.
Double clutching when you shouldn't be, whatever. And
I wasn't even going to attempt it.
Granny shifting when you should be double clutching. That's what it was.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Sounds pretty close.
All right, let's pull up the quote.
Yeah, pull it up.
I'm pretty sure it's Granny shifting.
Like, Granny shifting's in there, but I don't know. We'll see.
Granny.
I didn't want to touch it with the 10-foot pole. I would have botched the hell out of it.
Well, that's why I'm here, man. Granny shifting, not double clutching like you should. So I was pretty close.
You're close.
I was pretty close. I got the right words in there. But then like slowly integrating himself into the group, you know, he picks up Dom. Like you said, one of the biggest scenes in the movies is when the cops break up the street race. Dom dumps his car in a parking lot, tries to walk away, but they recognize him. Toretto, don't move. And Brian's a clever guy. He's waiting for the opportunity. He knows this is going to happen, so he's waiting for any potential opportunity to get one-on-one time with Dom to show his worth. Helps Dom escape, brings him home. The Buster is why I'm not in cuffs tonight.
kept me out of cuffs.
Shouldn't they know where he lives? It's a huge loophole.
Yeah.
Like, they know it's Dominic Toretto. Why don't you just show up at the house later?
Well, I think they wanted to catch him in the act.
No, but I mean, well, he was walking away. He was just walking around.
Yeah, but you can't, like, can you confirm it was him from a distance? You need the proof, the hard evidence. You know what I mean?
I guess.
You need to get him there.
It's a fun loophole.
Yeah,
It's a fun
but
loophole.
it's a good power dynamic because when they get dropped off by the cab, well, after the whole Johnny thing,
Johnny Tran
car getting blown up, Chinatown, Uzis on the car, it's fun. Gas, and it explodes.
Nos,
All that nos, man.
not gas. It says Nos.
And how did Johnny know that Dom was in that car? Because it's not Dom's car. I don't know.
I don't know.
Not important though.
What's fun about this movie? It does not let you go, man.
Yeah, it never
is
stops. Yeah.
It's like spectacle sequence to action sequence to action sequence to action sequence. It's so fast, and I liked it. I didn't like. You didn't need too much fluff.
I liked it.
You can tell a lot's on the editing room, but it goes from the race to saving him from the cops to Johnny Tran blowing up his car to the party, him getting a date with Mia,
And that's in 30 minutes.
It's so fast,
Yeah.
man. I loved it.
But when you does slow down and you get the character dynamics, it's great because when they get dropped off, Brian's leaving, but then Dom's like, "Yo, you want a drink? Want a beer?" Come into the house. And, he's made it past the line. And then Dom's pissed at his crew for leaving him and not looking for him. And then what's he do? He takes Vince's beer and gives it to Brian. Like, that's a big power play of like, fuck you.
It is a power move.
This guy saved my ass.
And now he's part of the crew. You know, he owes Dom a 10-second car. Yeah. So it's a great writing where he's forced into the group now. He's proved himself, proved his worth, proved he can hold his own, and now he's part of the team. He's going to build a 10-second car, the Toyota Supra for Dom. He's going to race it for Dom. But throughout the course of the film, like I said, Brian has blinders on to what's going on. He refuses to see because he's falling in love with this team, falling in love with Mia. And
It's always been Toretto.
It's always been Toretto, Brian. You just didn't want to see it. He's trying to see if it's Hector or if it's he wants it to be Johnny.
Yeah.
He wants it to be Johnny Tran, but it's not. It's Dom and his team. Until he gets pushed to the edge by his superiors, where he has to kind of force it out of him after race wars.
You have 36 hours.
Trying to get in. I love the scene between them when they're in Malibu and they get their tacos. And he's like, "I'm not stupid, Dom.
Yeah.
You know, I know you're doing something. I want in." So it's a clever script. It's a good story. And all the beats, it's very fast paced, but it all works. It flows well.
Yeah, and the background of Dom's great. I didn't love that Dom just randomly told Brian his whole backstory. It felt a little forced, but
With his dad?
Yeah, it is a good story though, and really makes you understand Dom. I just wish it was a little more naturally brought about, because he just went off on like a 5-minute monologue, kind of out of nowhere. But again, he's like revealing himself to Brian. He's opening up, but it wasn't really instigated by Brian. That's a scene where it could have been a little bit stronger, but it did still have a good impact and emotional core to it, where you can understand and empathize with Dom. He's not this hardened, terrible criminal. He beat the shit out of a guy who caused his dad to die during a race, so you can understand why he did that, why he got locked up for 2 years when he was young, and why he doesn't race. He can't race legally, so why he sticks with street racing and pulling these criminal jobs, because he can't do what he wants to do. So it's a good backstory for this character to really make you love him.
Yeah, that's a good point. It is a lot, but it's, it is a good background. And the cars are so good in this movie.
Yeah.
Let's run through the main cars in Fast and the Furious. Brian drives that green and blue Mitsubishi Eclipse in the opening of the film until Johnny Tran blows it the fuck up. Then he converts that Supra, the Toyota Supra, into a 10-second car, which is a beautiful racing car at the end of the film. Dom drives the Mazda RX-7. That's his main racing car until he drives the Dodge Charger at the end of the film. Johnny Tran, he drives that sick Honda S2000. Jesse, that Volkswagen Jetta. And then they also have those Honda Civics that they use for jacking. I love the cars in this film. Each one's unique. Each one's different. Makes it exciting. It adds to each character, whether it's Letty's car or Jordana's car, Mia's car. Everyone's car reveals something about their personality, and I think that's what's fun about them.
I always remember the line from Too Fast, Too Furious. Nah, man, too much chrome for me. When he gets to choose between the two cars to pick, that always just stuck with me. I think the Dodge Charger is the coolest car. The 1970 Dodge Charger RT. It's just a beast. It's a monster. The engine is just sticking out. There's no hood because the engine's so big. 900 horsepower, and the fact that it's a really great build up to when he finally gets into the car at the end, because Dom reveals he's never driven it. Because even he's afraid of it. Because it's such a monster. And this guy, the coolest guy, the toughest guy, is afraid to drive this car. Then it really builds a lot of anticipation for when, he's going to eventually.
Yeah, it's kind of like a monster movie in that way.
And then what's going to happen when he does drive it. So it creates a lot of stakes and suspense for when he will eventually get into that car.
Yeah. What was I going to say?
I don't know. You were thinking real hard.
I want to talk about the stunts.
Yes.
Obviously, this movie has visual effects and CGI, but the stunts are fucking incredible in this movie. The finale, final truck heist, or attempted heist, is terrific. The truckers aren't going to sit down and take these heists anymore. They're arming themselves, so it's dangerous to even do it anymore. In this final one, which happens after Race Wars, Dom and the team go. They leave Letty and Brian there, and when Brian reveals to Mia and Brian, and he reveals to Mia that he's a cop. Oh my god, emotional.
It's good. It's a good
emotional moment.
Reveal, yeah.
The sequence is great. Vince, they do that sequence. They do that thing where they shoot a line into the car,
a harpoon gun,
and the harpoon into the front seat, and then they swing on over, and then. In the opening, they show how they do it, and they hijack the truck, and they take over the driving. They knock out the driver with a tranquilizer, and then they take over the truck and drive away. But it goes wrong this one because the guy has a shotgun,
and they're one man down.
Yeah, and so they are fucking really on the side of that truck, man.
Yeah,
these stunt guys are fucking crazy, and it's amazing. On the side of the truck, hanging off of it, wired obviously, but it's still crazy to do.
And they're going fast.
They're pretty fast. Yeah. And then, obviously, when Brian has to save the day with Mia in the Supra, and Paul Walker and the stunt double go on top of the car to jump onto the pickup truck, it's just absolutely insane.
It was really refreshing to watch because it has no CGI outside of, obviously erasing the wires and rigs.
Yeah.
Because, this franchise is so extravagant now where it's so animated.
Well, similar scene, they showed a great compilation before the movie started of all the Fast movies. Yes. There's that famous scene where Dom crashes a car and flies across the highway to the other highway to jump on another car.
Yeah.
Going 80 miles per hour, 100 feet in the air, just as a human.
Yeah.
It's just silly.
It just doesn't feel good.
The stakes of doing it 5 feet away with two moving cars is so much better.
And just seeing it in camera, you're like, it's real, it's visceral. You can feel the danger, but when you see the big extravagant CGI shots, the danger's not there. Because it's a cool slow-mo, and then they change angles, and then it just flying across the skyscrapers, that shot when they drive through the window. It's just there's no danger there because it's impossible. That would never happen. It's cool though. But with this sequence, it was unbelievable. They did an amazing job. The whole team just knocked it out of the park. The stunt's great. You feel it. You feel the stakes. You feel the conflict. And it's when that stuntman is gonna jump onto the truck, you're just holy shit, here we go. I was nervous for the stunt guy. I was like, oh my god, he's gonna fucking jump this. This is crazy.
And then even when they jump back onto the Supra, And even when they have to skid out,
The peel out, yeah,
and then break into the dirt, like they fucking
that
did
one.
that.
I was like, holy shit, that could have gone wrong.
Probably wired up, but
yeah.
I'm sure they're wired up, but like they did that.
Really?
Well, I've done something similar when you're on top of a moving car. I can't remember the physics term for it, but you're being suction cupped down in a way. So it's kind of, it's easier than you'd think to stay on top of a car. Still, when you're spinning, it's not.
Onto a dirt road.
It's not easy.
Freeway, yeah.
But it's such a cool stunt, man. It is so freaking awesome.
And it has a really emotional reveal when Vince is mortally wounded, and then Brian's like, the only way to save this guy is to call in a helicopter medic immediately, pulls out his phone, gives him his officer ID, and then Dom learning in that moment that he has been a cop this whole time, but Vince is dying. It's such a great moment in the film, and I think it's one of the most powerful moments. It probably is the most powerful moment in the entire franchise, that moment.
I like Dom's philosophy a lot, the living my life a quarter mile at a time. And I felt a similar philosophy, or not necessarily philosophy, but motivation behind life, a racer's life with F1. You know, F1, Sonny Hayes talks about how he's always chasing that feeling of flying. You know, sometimes I'm chasing that feeling. I'm still chasing that feeling of flying, and he does that at the end of the final race, where everything gets quiet and he feels like nothing can touch him, and you're alone, and it's just you and the road. And Dom's, when he's doing his 10-second races, his drag races, quarter mile philosophy of life can't touch you. In those 10 seconds, he's free. Racing provides freedom for him, a temporary escape from everything. And I love that, and I think that's what entices Brian to not getting the same feeling, but the philosophy behind Dom's life. There's substance to it. It's not just he's racing and boosting because he likes to do it. It's bigger than that. He's so in love with it that even though his father died doing it, racing, he still can't stop but race. Yeah. It's like who he is. So he does everything he can to race. Because he can't legally race, he has to find other means to do it.
Yeah. And
so it's, in a way, he's a criminal, but from his perspective, you understand why he does it.
I have some couple facts as well about this movie.
Oh, let's fucking hear him, bro.
Casting. So the role of Brian was offered to Eminem, Mark Wahlberg, and Christian Bale, who all turned the role down.
You know, I could see Mark doing it, but I don't know if it would have been the right role for him. It would have been a very different movie. Eminem, I don't know, because he's a great actor, but he's not like a charismatic actor.
Yeah.
He also hasn't acted too much, but I think he's great in the right role, like 8 Mile. And then Christian can do anything, and I can see Christian.
Is he right for this kind of franchise, though?
Yeah, that's like true.
Would he have been doing this franchise?
Because I think this role really needed a heartthrob.
Yeah.
Not that Christian's not an incredibly good-looking guy, especially in the 2000s, coming off American Psycho.
Oh, yeah, he's a very, very good-looking
guy. But
I
think Paul has that heartthrob quality.
And I think with Point Break, that surfer quality. Yeah, he has that vibe.
He does have the surfer vibe, yeah.
And so for Toretto, the studio wanted Timothy Olyphant to play Toretto. Coming off of Gone in 60 Seconds, which would not, I don't think, I mean, Oliphant's cool as fuck. But he's cool. He has the Western Wild West cool, which is why, Westwood, Justified, like he's great in that role. But something like this, I think he might have been a little too old for the role too. Because Vin is pretty young in the role.
I love Oliphant, but he doesn't feel dangerous like Dom does. Like Vin makes Dom dangerous.
Yeah,
Vin makes him like that Godfather
tough
character.
Yeah, and Dom's very, very masculine.
Yeah,
and Oliphant's more cool, but Vin has like that powerful
different types of masculinity.
Yeah, exactly.
Masculinity is all over this film.
But Oliphant's masculine cool, I don't think would have been the same as Vin.
Vin's masculinity is in power. Yeah. Dominance, but yeah, Timothy's is a different type of masculinity. You're right. It's more wild card edge cool. But I think Dom was perfectly cast.
And the role of Mia was written for Eliza Dushku, who turned down the role.
She's big at the time.
Yeah, Sarah Michelle Gellar, Jessica Biel, Kirsten Dunst, and Natalie Portman all auditioned for Mia until Jordana was cast.
Jordana's really good.
I think she's really good casting.
I think she's terrific in that movie.
Yeah.
Again, it's one of those things like Devil's Advocate. What would the movie look like with these different actors in the roles? And it's just like, well, we got I think the best version that we would have gotten.
You know where they did the opening scene where Brian's racing that car by himself?
Dodger Stadium.
Yeah, the parking lot around Dodger Stadium.
I couldn't fucking believe it. I don't know.
Because when the shot ends with the car driving off next to a speed bump and then LA's in the background. And I was like, in my head, I was like, where is that? I fucking know where that is.
Well, the opening shot of the scene is Dodger Stadium in the background. Well, I never fucking noticed it. I swear, like, when you watch movies on a big screen, you just pick up on obvious details so much better.
Little things.
See, I haven't seen this movie in a while, though, but I've seen it like 15 times.
It's been a minute.
But as soon as that scene started, I'm like, they did this scene at Dodger Stadium. Dodger Stadium's cool because it has a ton of empty parking lot space all around it, and so it makes sense, where you're going to do that.
And when Fast and Furious was released on DVD and VHS in January 2nd, 2002, it was one of the biggest hits ever at the time for home media. It sold 2.1 million copies on its first day of release.
I remember Blockbuster, this thing was packed.
And it had the second highest single-day DVD sales of any film at that time, only behind Pearl Harbor. It made $18.6 million in video store rentals just in the first week alone, a record at the time, beating the previous record holder of Castaway. It was eventually surpassed by Harry Potter 1. Imagine, it held the crown until Harry Potter came out.
Yeah, because I remember... Oh, you're still going on that?
Yeah, 5.5 million home units were sold by the third month of release. So 5.5 million DVDs, VHSs purchased within 3 months.
No, that's not rentals.
Yeah.
Because if anyone listening was a millennial and grew up with Blockbusters, if you didn't know what Blockbuster was, like, you would have shelves of DVDs and VHSs, and depending on the popularity of the movie, you'd have either one of the movie or 50 of the movie or 100 or 200. And Fast and Furious was one of those movies where the entire shelf, floor to ceiling, was packed with just Fast and Furious for rentals. Yeah. And it would be the DVD cover case, and then probably 5 rental cases of that movie behind each cover. So it was just a very popular movie to rent.
Yeah, and, it's a testament to, like, obviously now the franchise makes $1 billion a movie, but this movie, the first one, tremendous success at the box office, $200 million, but then one of the most rented and purchased DVDs of its era. It was such a big cultural phenomenon that people, I think because they don't really display the numbers and people don't talk about units sold that much, and 200 million doesn't sound like that much, but when you adjust for inflation, that's $500 million, I would say. So it was a huge, huge, huge success for Universal from day one.
Yeah. And I understand why you can't make 10 movies about drag racing and street racing. And so they had to go bigger and bolder with the sequels. But the first movie for me will always be the best one, because the story exists because people race their cars. That's why it exists. Whereas in the later films, yeah, they still have races, but they're only racing because they're in a Fast and Furious movie.
Yeah.
They don't need to race. Like one of them, that internal mountain race thing, like, they're fine. That's secondary now. Racing isn't really the DNA anymore. Well, but it's the characters are what people love.
I just really love, because this is pre-social media, I just love the underground world of the culture. Like this little community that nobody knew about, and they're very passionate, and what they're doing is super cool. It's super illegal. It's very intoxicating, and you have to know to get in. It's a who's who. It's so secretive, and the public didn't know about it, and that's what's really cool. And it's like people aren't like taking photos for Instagram or anything. It's just like they're all in the moment. They're all living in the moment, which was so pure back then. Of just like, this is our community. This is our little subculture. It's a hidden world within a world. And that's what I think is one of my favorite aspects to this film. But now, like, imagine now, it's just like, it would be social media and like influencers, and it just wouldn't have, it has a lot of purity to it.
Yeah, I agree. It's a fun movie, man. It's just one of a kind. It's so cool.
Yeah.
It's a classic. It's aging like fine wine.
It holds up really well. It does hold up,
man.
Well.
It really does. It's fantastic. Thanks for tuning into this episode, guys. talking the Fast and Furious with us. What a banger. What a time. 2000s, man. Nothing but heat constantly. 2001 was a good year, too, for film. It was a lot of good movies came out. But, hey, thanks for supporting us and by listening. But if you want to support us other ways, patreon.com/Raiders of the Lost Podcast, weekly bonus episodes. Right now we're doing every episode of a Lantern review exclusively only on Patreon. Leave those 5-star ratings and reviews on Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, wherever you can leave a review or a rating. Do it for us. Please take a couple seconds to make our dreams come true, to keep talking about
Please,
cinema.
Lou, please leave a rating.
Leave your
Lou.
reviews. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok. It's where most of the updates happen for what we're doing week to week. In the meantime, take care.
See you next time.